Explain like I'm 5. Why are food prices so absurdly high and what could be done to fix this? I am a farmer, and my prices have increased because every piece of equipment we have runs on diesel fuel. I'm not making more money, just paying more for fuel and fertilizer. Want the cost of food to go down? Lower the cost of energy. Interesting to see people claiming supply chain while companies of all sorts are posting record profits. If prices for consumers only rose to cover the increased cost of supplies, you would expect to see little to no increase in net profits. The fact of the matter is a lot of prices are increasing because companies haven't yet hit the point at which consumers opt to not purchase, which admittedly is harder to do for things like groceries than luxuries. In my country, Australia, it's because there is a lack of competition and the supermarkets are inflating the prices to make record profits. Price gouging. All the grocery stores that are crying about supply chain issues driving up the cost of food because of the pandemic are now reporting record profits. So the real answer, whatever anyone tries to tell you, is price gouging. In addition to what's being said, the West has lived for decades on the cheap labor of other countries. Nowadays, citizens of those countries are, slowly but surely, asking and getting fairer wages. First world countries are discovering the true prices of things. Shut down the world's economies while governments keep printing money. Floating on a giant mountain of debt, supply is constricted while demand stays high. Inflation. Higher cost of fuel and material, pressure for higher wages driving up labor cost. Pass on the higher costs to your customers. Repeat until a recession dumps wages into the toilet and people no longer can pay the higher prices. So you slash prices and increase corporate debt. Food isn't more expensive. Instead, your dollars are losing their value. When something like half of all US dollars in circulation were printed in the last few years. This isn't a surprise. Double the money supply and dollars will be worth half of what they used to be. If that wasn't true, we could print money and just all be rich. Supply chain issues. Farmers are being squeezed at both ends as usual. Grocers are making out like bandits. Solutions would be to grow your own. Make your own. Focus on raw foods like fruits and veggies. Stay away from baked goods, especially the cheap stuff. And go local when possible, like farmers market. Answer. Many things are involved, but the basic is the cost of energy. People need energy for everything. When the cost of energy is high, the cost of everything else is high. When we were energy independent, everything was cheaper, and I mean everything. When there is a mountain of restrictions such as the Biden admin has placed on ever since he became POTUS, the cost of things skyrocket. When business has to pay more, that they won't eat the loss. They just make it cost more to you and I. All the food was planted when diesel and fertilizer were at their peak. So high input cost caused high sell cost. On the ground level, stop buying shit. I see these pictures of people posting what $100 gets them, and there's all this prepackaged stuff. Soda, frozen meals, chips. We have to start making our own food. Use farmers markets, local suppliers. Meat is a tough one though. Being veg or vegan isn't for everyone. We can try and reduce. My question is, how the fuck can inflation only be 10 when a food seems to be up 50,100? Fuel was up a lot. It'd like they know that if they have a steep rise, the high prices will be ignored when a year goes round because the rises fall out the calculation. But it doesn't seem right to me. They are trying poorer to try and take the steam out the economy when inflation isn't even demand driven. It's cost push. Buy cheaper food? €150 a month is easily doable. My best friend does 5,000 kilocalories a day for €180 a month. Big bodybuilder eating super healthy. If something is being sold in the supermarket doesn't mean it's a sensible thing to buy. It just means it's worth the opportunity cost of the product placement. Eat oats, dried legumes, peanuts and stuff. It's Ukraine, of course. What isn't? People are afraid of food shortages and speculators are trying to cash in on that by buying up futures to bring up the commodity price. 1. The government printed an insane amount of money during the pandemic, which led to high inflation. 2. Companies used supply and labor shortages as an excuse to raise prices. Prices never came down. The Fed could stop printing money. Ultimately, we'd need to go back on the gold standard. But the bank cartel will never allow it. Corporate greed. That's all it is. People need to eat. So the vast majority of a population is going to have to buy food. Prices keep going up, but people still need to buy food. Most people have no choice but to keep buying food even as prices go up. Greed. Simple as that. I know there is some supply chain issues, but I'm going to suggest that there is price gouging and Brexit consequences at play. I'm sure there are some Tory friends asking money out of somewhere. One word: Russia. Their invasion of Ukraine and blockage of Ukrainian grain exports as well as destruction of grain stock has sent global food prices soaring. The super rich could maybe be happy with what they have and stop strangling the rest of us. That would totally work. But instead, we'll continue to blame whichever side we don't like whilst ignoring that it is the ultra-wealthy pulling all the strings. Greed capitalism. A systemic change of economic theory is the only thing that can fix it. AKA zero chance as long as society stands. It is absolutely greed. Period. End of discussion. How do I know? Pay attention to things like eggs and milk. In my area, one retailer will sell milk for $3 gallon while another just a few miles away will be $5. Same with other staples like eggs, bread, rice, etc. There's no way that's not just retailers picking and choosing their margins. It's no longer a competitive market. They're all colluding with one another in one way or another to turn record profits. Maybe cause of demand and supply. We generally not buy clothes every day or week, but we need to buy food. We spent more on foods than clothes. It's a combination of inflation, state taxes USA, and poor management. State taxes are usually often tacked onto grocery bills. Supply chain logistics cost more the more middlemen get involved. Food stamps can be metered as a subsidy to grocers. The more food stamps a grocer can collect, the more security they have in their stock. There's a balance that could be tweaked. But rather it's more common for dumb politics to get dumb results. Too many result in the state losing revenue. Too few and grocers have less freedom. How much could one banana cost? $10. Part of the solution is to grow your own select crops and have co-op agreements with other local growers. Cut out the middleman and delivery chain. Fresher food. If done with organics, you have more nutrients and less or no pesticides. Healthier lifestyle. It's everywhere greed, and it always has been. Prices will keep going up on everything until people can't pay. Options for us average Joes and Toshas are bitch and pay or riot. Keep pushing. Let's see where this goes. Well, compared to pre-pandemic, it has become more greed than inflation. So how do you fix greed in general would be a more appropriate question.